Have you ever wondered, why do some seniors sleep deeply at night, take light walks, grow hair steadily, and feel full of vitality, while others at the exact same age battle pain, fatigue, and helplessness every single day? Surprisingly, the secret wasn't in any hospital or clinic, but quietly hidden inside their kitchen. In this video, I'll share true stories, how elderly people who had lost all hope regained restful sleep, started growing hair again, felt lighter, and found peace of mind, all thanks to two seemingly ordinary ingredients: castor oil and baking soda. If you suffer from insomnia, pain, hair loss, indigestion, or simply feel like your body isn't what it used to be, please keep watching. The answer you've been looking for might just be in the story ahead. Story 1. Michael and the Sleepless Nights. Freedom from the Prostate. Michael, 72 years old, was once a fearless firefighter who fought through flames without hesitation. But the thing that brought him to his knees wasn't fire. It was the nightly struggle caused by an enlarged prostate. He had to get up 4 to 5 times a night to urinate, which left him unable to enter deep sleep. As a result, his memory faded, and his mind became clouded. He had tried prescription meds, but the side effects drained his energy and left his head foggy. The sharp and sturdy man he once was now seemed only a shadow of himself. Then one day his daughter, who worked as a nurse, placed 2 things on his desk: a bottle of castor oil and a jar of baking soda. She said, "Dad, just try this natural method. It's easy on your liver, non-addictive, and you might be surprised at how well it works." Skeptical but willing, Michael followed her instructions. He soaked a gauze pad in castor oil, placed it on his lower abdomen, applied a warm compress for about 45 minutes, and then went to bed. The first week, nothing changed. In the second week, he only got up 3 times a night. By the third week, it was down to twice. And after 3 months, he slept through the night for the first time in years. Michael cried, not because he was cured, but because he had finally reclaimed a deep sleep he had long forgotten. For the elderly, sleep isn't a small matter. It's a miraculous gift. Castor oil isn't a magic potion, but its key component, ricinoleic acid, stimulates the lymphatic system to flush out waste and reduces inflammation around the prostate, easing pressure on the bladder. Baking soda helps regulate pH and enhances the anti-inflammatory effect. Michael didn't just regain his sleep. He regained vitality, mental clarity, and a sense of control. Prostate relief summary. Soak gauze in castor oil and place it on the lower abdomen. Apply a warm compress for 30 to 45 minutes. Combine with baking soda to enhance anti-inflammatory effects. Continue consistently for 3+ months. Deep sleep returns. Story 2. Thomas and the Hair That Came Back. A quiet story of belief. Thomas, 68 years old, is a retired mail carrier living in Ohio. He rarely talked about his hair, but every time he looked in the mirror, the truth was impossible to ignore. His hairline was receding, the top of his head was thinning, and each year more scalp peeked through. He pretended it didn't bother him, but deep down it did. For him, hair wasn't just about appearance. It was a part of the strong man he once was, a version of himself he loved. He was well aware of famous hair loss treatments like minoxidil and finasteride, but concerns about the side effects, hormonal imbalances, sexual dysfunction, even depression, kept him from trying them. Then one day, while browsing a health forum, he came across a short post. Massaging refined castor oil into the scalp twice a week can regrow hair, even in older people. With nothing to lose, Thomas decided to try. That night, he warmed a bit of castor oil and added a few drops of rosemary essential oil, known for boosting scalp circulation. He massaged his scalp gently for about 10 minutes, then wore a shower cap and left it on overnight. In the first month, nothing changed, but he didn't give up. By the second month, he noticed fewer hairs falling out when combing. In the third month, his longtime hairdresser looked at him in surprise and said, "Thomas, your hair's getting thicker. Whatever you're doing, keep it up." When he got home, Thomas stood in front of the mirror and touched his head. Under his fingers were thin but strong new hairs. An indescribable joy washed over him. It wasn't just about hair. It was the moment his lost confidence started coming back. Scientifically speaking, DHT, a byproduct of testosterone metabolism, is the major cause of male hair loss. Finasteride blocks it through hormone interference, but ricinoleic acid, about 90% of castor oil, has been shown to inhibit DHT-producing enzymes in a gentler, more natural way. In other words, a hair loss solution from nature, slower but safer and less stressful on the body. Hair loss relief summary. Warm castor oil and add a few drops of rosemary essential oil massage into the scalp for 10 minutes. Then wear a shower cap overnight. Use consistently for at least 2 to 3 months. Naturally blocks DHT. No hormonal imbalance worries. Story 3, James and the battle with joint pain. Comfort returns. James, 74 years old, was a skilled carpenter from Montana. His body bore the marks of decades of hard labor, especially in his knees, shoulders, and wrists. After retiring, the pain became more intense. Going downstairs, picking up objects, or even turning over in bed brought sharp discomfort. He tried painkillers, but his sensitive stomach couldn't handle the side effects. Patches, joint supplements, physical therapy, all of it offered only temporary relief. Then one evening, his wife approached him with a small bowl of warm castor oil. Her eyes were kind but firm. "Just try it once, okay?" James gave a half smile. "Folk remedies, huh? You're serious." But he gave in to her quiet insistence. She gently rubbed the warm oil into his knees using soft circular motions, then placed a cloth soaked in oil over the area. A warm compress followed, resting on top for 45 minutes. They repeated this nightly for 3 weeks. At first, nothing changed. But one morning, on his usual walk to fetch the newspaper, something he always did while silently enduring pain, he realized he hadn't stopped once. His knees didn't hurt. His shoulders weren't stiff. His body felt unexpectedly light. He froze in his tracks, a look of disbelief and gratitude on his face. For the first time in years, James could walk through his garden without a cane. He could climb the porch steps without grabbing the handrail. And most importantly, he could look at his wife with grateful eyes, thankful for her faith in him when he'd lost it in himself. The key component of castor oil, ricinoleic acid, has powerful anti-inflammatory properties. When warmed, it penetrates the skin and reaches the joints, reducing inflammation and improving circulation. Combined with heat from the compress, the effect multiplies. Heat expands capillaries, allowing the oil to sink deeper and aid in true recovery, not just temporary relief, but natural restoration. Joint pain relief summary. Massage the painful area with warm castor oil. Apply gauze soaked in oil, plus a warm compress for 30 to 45 minutes. Practice daily for 3 to 4 weeks. Pain decreases, joints regain flexibility. Easier movement. Story 4. Susan and the stones in her belly, listening to the gut signal. Susan, 70 years old, was a devoted teacher. But after retirement, what drained her most wasn't the quietness of time. It was the constant bloating, heaviness, and chronic constipation. She often joked, "I live with a rock in my belly." But behind the jokes was real suffering. Probiotics, laxative teas, herbal medicine, prescriptions. She tried them all. The results were always the same. Severe cramping some days, temporary relief others, and the strong laxatives left her feeling like she'd lost control of her body, just discomfort and exhaustion. One day she spoke with an old friend, someone who happened to be a retired acupuncturist. Her friend asked gently, "Susan, have you ever tried drinking castor oil?" Susan raised an eyebrow. "You want me to drink oil?" Her friend nodded. "Just a small amount. 1 spoonful on an empty stomach with warm lemon water in the morning. Then take it easy, read a book, take a walk, and wait." Tired of trying everything else, Susan decided to give it a shot. The next morning, she mixed 1 tablespoon of castor oil with half a cup of warm lemon water and drank it. Then she quietly read a book and waited. There was no intense cramping, no urgent pressure, just a gentle stirring inside. About an hour later, she felt a soft movement in her belly, as if her digestive system had gently woken up. What happened next moved her deeply, a smooth, natural bowel movement with no pain at all. She continued this ritual twice a week, adding a warm compress to her lower abdomen as well. She soaked a clean cloth in castor oil, sprinkled some baking soda on it, and applied it for 30 minutes. This wasn't just physical care. It became a healing moment for her mind, too. Within 3 weeks, she felt lighter. The bloating disappeared, her appetite returned, and she no longer feared sudden abdominal cramps. Scientifically, castor oil taken in small amounts stimulates the intestines gently. Ricinoleic acid acts on prostaglandin, EP3 receptors in the gut, encouraging movement without harsh irritation. Used externally with baking soda, it helps balance pH and boost blood flow to the abdominal region, giving a dual effect. With the stones gone from her belly, Susan felt like she had new energy. Her mornings changed, from anxious and heavy to light and full of hope. Digestive weakness and chronic constipation, relief summary. On an empty stomach, drink 1 spoonful of castor oil plus half a cup of warm lemon water. Do 1 to 2 times a week. Avoid overuse. Apply castor oil plus baking soda, compress to the lower abdomen for 30 minutes. After 3 weeks, improve bowel movements, lighter feeling, appetite restored. Story 5, Ellen and her ice-cold feet, when blood flow returned. Ellen, 76 years old, lived in a rural village in Vermont. She had long been loved by children for her strict but kind-hearted presence as a librarian. But after her husband passed away and the years went by, she began suffering from a problem no one paid much attention to: her perpetually cold feet. Even in the middle of summer, while others wore short sleeves and sandals, Ellen had to wear thick socks and wrap herself in a blanket to fall asleep. Her feet were like ice. Beyond discomfort, they brought pain, numbness, and sometimes swelling by late afternoon. She often muttered to herself, "Is there even blood flowing in my feet anymore?" Foot baths, wool socks, warming creams from the store, none of it worked. Her feet remained cold, lifeless like frozen ground. One day, after a church gathering, she timidly shared her concern. A friend, who was a retired nurse, leaned in and whispered, "Ellen, try massaging your feet with castor oil every night. I did it for my husband, and it worked wonders." That night, Ellen gave it a try. She poured a few spoonfuls of castor oil into a small bowl, gently warmed it, then sat at the edge of her bed. With care and intention, she massaged the soles of her feet, toes, ankles, even her calves, moving as if waking up sleeping blood vessels. After 15 minutes of massage, she wrapped each foot in a clean towel to retain warmth. And to her surprise, for the first time in months, her feet weren't ice cold in bed. Every night after that, she repeated the ritual. After 2 weeks, warmth returned to her feet. Swelling decreased, and she could take walks in her garden without feeling weighed down. But what moved her most, her dry, cracked skin became smoother, and her feet gradually regained their healthy color. Ricinoleic acid in castor oil helps dilate peripheral blood vessels, and stimulate local circulation. Some studies suggest that regular castor oil massage can increase blood flow to an area by over 35%. When circulation returns, it's not just about feeling warm. Oxygen and nutrients reach tissues, and waste is flushed out. It's literally the return of vitality. Poor circulation, cold feet, and dry skin relief summary. Nightly massage with warm castor oil. Focus on soles, toes, ankles, and calves. Wrap feet in a towel to keep warmth, 15 to 20 minutes. After 2 to 4 weeks, increased warmth, smoother skin, reduced swelling, lighter steps. Story 6. Grace in the return of a peaceful night, a quiet ritual, back to herself. Grace, 79 years old, had worked for 40 years as a music teacher. She loved sound and understood the delicate subtleties of music better than anyone. But ironically, after turning 75, it was silence that became her greatest enemy. At night, without the piano or children's laughter, only the echo of endless thoughts filled her mind. Insomnia grew. She became more sensitive, more lethargic, and at times she didn't even want to get out of bed. A doctor once prescribed her sleeping pills, but she knew. The more she relied on medication, the weaker her body would become. One night she had a dizzy fall in the bathroom due to lingering side effects, and that's when she decided to stop pills altogether. One day, while watching her granddaughter practice yoga, she overheard something that sparked curiosity: a bedtime wind-down ritual, a simple self-care routine involving gentle touch, warmth, and deep breathing. That night, Grace gave it a try. She poured a spoonful of castor oil into her hands, rubbed her palms together to warm it, and slowly massaged her chest and upper abdomen in slow circles. Then she placed her right hand over her heart, her left over her solar plexus, took a deep breath in, and exhaled slowly through her mouth. She repeated this 10 times. The first night didn't bring miracles, but she felt something quietly soften inside. After a week, falling asleep became easier. After 3 weeks, she slept over 6 hours straight, something that hadn't happened in months. She no longer fought sleep. She prepared for it, gently, warmly, and with respect for herself. Modern science supports this. The chest area holds many autonomic nerves tied to emotion, especially the vagus nerve. When massaged warmly with deep breathing, the brain receives a message: you're safe. You can rest now. Castor oil's deep absorption, combined with warmth, calms the nervous system and brings emotional stability. Grace began waking up each morning feeling lighter, fresher, and in her eyes the sparkle of music had returned. Chronic insomnia and bedtime anxiety, relief summary. Massage the chest and solar plexus with warm castor oil. Place hands on heart and upper belly. Breathe deeply 10 times. Practice 15 to 20 minutes before bed. After 2 to 4 weeks, improved sleep, reduced anxiety. No need for medication. The answer was in their kitchen all along. Michael, Thomas, James, Susan, Ellen, and Grace. They lived in different places, led different lives, and faced different struggles: insomnia, hair loss, joint pain, bloating, cold limbs, and anxiety. But they had one thing in common. They all doubted at first, but eventually they tried. Not through high-end medical devices or cutting-edge technology, but with a bottle of castor oil, a jar of baking soda, some patience, and a little self-belief. They changed. This isn't magic. It's the result of listening to the body, embracing nature, and choosing gentle care over forceful control. In a fast-paced world where speed is everything, we often forget. Healing is a journey that needs time and sincerity. These humble kitchen ingredients have returned for a reason, perhaps to guide us back to the essence of simple, natural strength. If you're living in fatigue or discomfort, try pausing for a moment. 1 spoonful of castor oil on an empty stomach in the morning. A gentle foot massage on cold soles. A warm touch to your chest before bed. Your body and your heart just might begin to change. Health isn't far away. Sometimes it's hidden in the things we've long taken for granted. If this video helped you, don't forget to like, save, and share it with the elderly you love. This small video might be the beginning of someone's new health journey. See you in the next story.